Hi everyone, and welcome to the 13th of July update. Dave Hughes here, Selezen on the internet, with another lovely update for you. Hope you're all well. Anyone out there who was at LaveCon has enjoyed LaveCon. Anyone who wasn't at LaveCon didn't enjoy LaveCon. That's as it should be. Okay, without further ado, I'll go on to what's happening. So this week's contents: LaveCon, more LaveCon, and even more LaveCon. Only kidding. It's probably going to feel kind of like that actually, because quite a lot of the stuff that's been done this week has been LaveCon oriented. It was mostly preparation for trying to get the game ready for playing at LaveCon, and just wrapping up stuff and getting it printed off ready to go. So it may feel like that slightly. So we have a LaveCon report, a playtest feedback, which will be going into how playtests went at LaveCon itself, which is obviously where playtesting was done this week. And then an overview of what's going on, other work that's happening this week and in the following weeks, and an overview of feedback and questions and the next update. So, on to the next screen. So LaveCon, the main thing that happened over the last week or so for the project and for myself has been LaveCon, which is probably the biggest biggest Elite related convention that we do at the moment. The three altogether that involve Elite: there's Fantasticon, which is mainly aimed at the publishing and novelization side of things. Elite Meet is a smaller convention that is strictly based on Elite itself. But LaveCon was the first of these conventions that was put together by the guys from Lave Radio podcast. Those guys actually met up to share a hard drive at one point and then decided to build a convention around it. And it's now in its third year. And this weekend was the third year of that convention, so we're okay. So when we arrived in the morning, set everything up and set up our little table, which I have to admit I didn't actually take any photos of anything while I was there. There are some photos in the thread, in the stream today, but none of them were taken by me, which is a bit of a weird oversight actually, so never mind. Okay, so you signed up players from Saturday morning, and rather than do what we did last year, which was just have sign-ups on the Saturday for the Saturday things and then leave the sign-ups for the Sunday, we decided we were going to do this. We were going to actually do all the sign-ups on the same day, and we actually filled up all the slots by midday. We only had one slot left, one game session left that didn't have anything on it, so we had to try and put together some spare sessions. So we were very, very popular. I was quite impressed and quite stunned by the amount of the amount of attention that we got. There's quite a few people stood up at the table and sort of asked some questions about it, because we had a banner up. You'll see up a part of it in one of the photos later on. And quite a lot of information was given out about it, and quite a lot of good things were said. So I played as a player for the first time as part of my effort to try and test everything. Steph, why? I seem to be getting cut off every few seconds. Yeah, that's probably just buffering. Sorry, that's not it's not a thing to do with the stream. I think we should be okay. I'll just double check the frames. Not got any drop frames, so we should be okay. So if there are any problems, like the whole thing drops out, or there's any sound issues, then let me know. But hopefully you should all be able to hear me okay. Okay, played as a player for the first time. Yeah, part of my effort to try and understand each different side of the game and how it's playtesting and how well it runs is for me to play it as a player and leave the GMing side of it to someone else. Let someone else organise it. And I played under Darren Gray, who turned out to be one of the most talented GMs I've seen. He had a very good take on character generation, which worked really, really well. And his adventure that he wrote was very, very good. And given the fact that he'd never GM'd before, I was quite happily surprised by how well he did. So kudos to him for that. The game as a player I quite enjoyed, and it seemed to flow really well. I mean, the systems seemed to work okay. And it seemed to do as it was necessary. I mean, it seemed fairly balanced. You know, there was times when you did a roll and you failed, and there was times you did a roll and you did well, and it was easy to keep track of what needed to get done. So I was very, very impressed. obviously being impressed with my own work is something that one shouldn't say, but in this case I think I'm allowed a little bit of a yay. So and on the Sunday, 11 o'clock, I GM'd a game as well. So again, ran a quick setting, a quick setup, and a quick, very rapidly put together game. Again, most enjoyable. Again, the feedback I got from that session was very good. A few little niggles which I'll go into later on about what I seem to be getting a lot now in face-to-face sessions is I get sort of little niggles about the way things are worded or the way things look, or how things are sort of laid out. There's nothing really to do with major issues like the system and that kind of thing, so that's very hopeful. And another main thing was the first session on the Saturday, which was run by Ian McNeil, if anyone knows him. If not, then he's a sound guy. He's a lovely lad who does quite a lot of awesome things with circuit boards and lights and metal. He etches metal badges for people if you ask him really nicely. And obviously did that for me a couple of years ago. Last year it was, sorry. And he ran some games, and again, he's not an experienced games master, but he did a fantastic job. Apparently, he tested the game out so he could get his head around the rules himself on the Friday night, then ran a session on the Saturday morning, on the first of the sessions over the weekend. And I managed to catch the guys coming out of his session, and they were full of players for him and for the game, so I was very happy with that. Okay, so that was it really. I kind of put my head around the door for Darren's game session on the Sunday afternoon, and put my head around Ian's session obviously on the Saturday morning as well, and I was quite happy with what I saw. Everyone seemed to be having a lot of fun, so it's always good to see as a game designer or game creator to see other people enjoying playing the game, and it does kind of, it shows me that things are working okay, it shows me things are progressing, it shows me the system's coming together and the game's coming together, and it's going to be an enjoyable thing to do. Oh, thank you for following Phoenix D Fire and Steph Wyeth. Steph Wyeth, one of my players from the weekend, and a very, very keen follower of myself and the role-playing game. Phoenix D Fire is a chap called Colin Ford who does a Top Shift stream about Elite Dangerous on YouTube, and a very nice guy is too. He also plays a hell of a lot of Star Wars miniatures games, so he's a very experienced player for various things as well. Good evening to you. Right, so I think on the Saturday evening before we did the evening session, before I played the session with Darren, I took part in an RPG panel, which was essentially discussing how RPGs are put together, how people have designed and play these things. And Colin Ford, which is not the same Colin Ford who's just logged in today, or just who I just mentioned. It's he's a live role player and ordinary tabletop role playing game player and designer who is very experienced at sort of all sides of things. And a chap called David Lloyd, who I don't know all that much about even now, but very experienced on the, again, live role playing organisation and creation side of things. And we, all three of us, were fired questions from a panel of people wanting to know about RPG design, so it was an honour to be asked to do that. And it was interesting to be on the sort of side as a beginning RPG designer, talking to people who are experienced at designing RPGs and who have got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge about the field. So hopefully I can learn from them as things go forward, and I do more RPG design following this one, and obviously find out more about the mistakes I make, or the mistakes that can be made, and how to avoid them, such as giving yourself a completely unrealistic deadline, for example. So there you go. Yes, that was very interesting. So that was pretty much it for the sort of involvement I had. So I just wanted to give, if they happen to read or see this at some point, special thanks to the GMs that took part and helped me out this weekend. Darren Graney and McNeil, awesome guys. Did a fantastic job. I couldn't have wished any more from them. They did very, very well and did me proud. Yeah, and to their players as well. Obviously these players will now become part of the playtesting lore of the game. I was slightly more organised this week than I have been at other ones where I've played, and I've not actually taken down everyone's name, but I managed to get most of the people's names this time. So yeah, all those chaps. And I'm not going to go through the names. If you see your name there, then thank you very much. If you don't see your name there and you're watching this, or you know someone who should be on that list, then let me know, and they will be put in the book as playtesters as well. So thank you to them very, very much. As I say there, preempting myself again. So yeah, holiday snaps time. This is it's just me indulging myself, really, just basically saying that there are people out there who are enjoying the game, playing the game. It is out there, it is getting done, work is going on for it, and it is evolving, and has evolved quite a lot since we started out. This is Ian in the Fez. Obviously the photo's attribution is on the side there. Ian Meaton was the chap in the Fez there with the long beard. He was playing this game on Friday night just to get people interested in the game and to get himself used to the rules and so on. He said it was a very good session. He said it was a bit hectic at first when he tried to get the hang of the rule set, but he said they did a good job and it was most enjoyable to play. This is the main hall of LaveCon, where I had my sales desk. Now if you look in roughly the middle of the photo, and then look up, there's a chap in a fez, a red fez, the same fez that was being worn in the previous picture, and behind him is the Elite Encounters logo. That's where my desk was, and I was sitting just behind the chap in black, just there, and that's where we sat for most of the weekend and did some awesome stuff. So obviously people came up to us and talked about the game, found out what was going on, picked up a leaflet, did all sorts of things, and obviously signed up for the games as well. And over the weekend we got quite a fair bit of attention, so that was great. At the bottom left hand corner there, by the way, that's Darren Gray, I believe. Looks like him anyway, so yeah. And this was the session I played in. I am the person with the black cat sitting in front and centre there of the photo. Drew Wagar and Steph Wyeth and Kate Russell there on the right, and the other people that were there. Awesome players, awesome people. I believe the person right in the centre there is Commander Gimme from the game. He's definitely from the Elite forums anyway. I remember him from the Elite forums. And obviously with his face being slightly obscured in the extreme left there is Darren Gray, the GM himself. Buffering thing keeps killing me off the skateboard and advert before the stream is becoming too familiar. I'm sorry about that. If I could do something about that, then I would do. It's an odd thing. I don't see the adverts when I watch the stream back. So, but yes, that was us playing the game, and I was having a fantastic time there, and it was a very well run game, most enjoyable. And each of those guys there was awesome. You know, it surprises me every time I do a game, whether I run a game or whether I play in a game or whatever at these things. How immersive they make it and how they get immersed in the game as well. I mean, a lot of people sitting there are complete beginners at games. Steph's played a couple of games before. Gimmy's a new person at it, and I think Jack, who's the guy in black with the yellow badge on, he's fairly new at it as well. Drew and Kate, as authors in the Elite canon, have played the game once each at a very late hour at Fantasticon, and this is the first time they've sort of played the game without being completely three sheets to the wind, and they were awesome at it. And I would count them as beginners, given that this is probably their second session of ever playing a role-playing game. And Kate Russell got so into her own part, and she played in character, as we were instructed to do. She played in character the entire time and played a very, very interesting character. Drew as well just took it and ran with it, and the other guys there did the same, and they were just amazing. And it's great that Darren could put something across that made it so immersive, and that it proved that the system could be immersive as well, and it didn't interfere too much with how people were playing the game. So yeah, awesome stuff. And just another bit of indulgence for me was Dockers, the podcast, the comedy kind of slightly rude late night podcast that we all put together, which is my introduction to radio acting, if you like. I'm at the upper right of the screen. There's a guy in black with a black cat. That is me. Not particularly great resolution, but fair enough. There you go. So right, so playtest feedback. What information did I get back from people at LaveCon? There it's there in front of you. The character generation is much more intuitive than it was. That's from a couple of the guys who have played the previous rules, when character generation was quite badly organised, shall we say. The GM said that the character generation seemed much easier than they thought it would be. Darren, who had a look at it before, I think, said it was easier to read. And yeah, system was easy to learn. That was from Ian playing through the Friday. He managed to actually pick it up as a system and play it and run with it on the Friday night. But a few mistakes. For example, as I say, this may have confusion over how to use task pools. Everyone seemed when I watched one of the games in progress, which I think was Ian's. He was asking everyone to roll one dice for everything that was happening, and I had to say to him, "Look, why are you doing one dice?" And he said, "Well, that's the task." I said, "No, you're supposed to use the value from the vital statistics, so either mind, body, or senses, and then add to it as it should be, and managed to correct that. But other than that, I mean, everything that was happening in the game just seemed to be the way it was going. So, Andrew Sayers pointed out that the vital stats on the record file, there's a box where your vital stats go, and there's a box next to it that says mod, which is for modifications to your stats during play. And he said that in the quick start sheet, which will probably publish with the game in its final form, he felt that it was a bit confusing because in that quick start sheet it says modifiers, or modify something, and he thought that was meant to be tied to that, and it's not. So the suggestion that's been made is to rename the little header in the box to adjustment, or ADJ for adjustment. So fair enough. And I discovered in my game, which again was with Andrew there, some small niggles regarding the hand-to-hand combat process. I've just remembered something. I'm just going to nip back to one of the previous screens there, where with the names. The session I ran with Eric Allin, I have actually missed Andrew Sayers' name off that list. God, every time, I do apologise if Andrew reads this or sees this. Yeah, he was one of the players on my session, and I completely forgot to put his name down. I can't understand why. But yeah, we had a bit of hand-to-hand combat in the end of towards the end of the game, and had a quick look at it, and I was a little confused myself as to what the hand-to-hand combat progress was. Oh, I'm sorry, Steph. I'm really sorry you can't get a connection working properly. What to do is just, if you want to drop off, that's fine. I'm going to restart the stream shortly anyway for the main update. So watch the YouTube video and comment on that. And thanks for joining it anyway. I'm sorry you can't get a decent connection. Okay, but yeah. So sorry. Back to the thing. Small niggles regarding hand-to-hand combat process. I forgot myself what the hand-to-hand combat process was. Did it all wrong, and sort of obviously then realised that I should really read the rules myself, because I had no. I was essentially using the melee rules, which are very similar, but there's one important difference, and I'm going to sort of reread that and redefine that and make sure it's all right. Hello, Edorin, and just make sure that it's tied down properly. So, upcoming work, the to-do list basically. Tighten up the hand-to-hand combat process, as I just mentioned. Just get that sorted out, and just make sure it's as tight as can be. And once that's done, that should be me able to draw a line under the character generation and the whole system thing. And I'm going to put that in a separate file and lock it down, ready for the editing process to start on it. And then once that's done, I'll focus completely on the vehicle combat and the miniatures rules, get those sorted and get them done. And that will be my sole focus, so I can get that sorted out and put through. That way I can get all the rules put down, tested and sorted out. Thanks, Steph. I appreciate the fact that you've been patient with it. By all means, try again with the mainstream starts, and we'll see how things goes. It may be that I maybe got a bad channel on the server, but what I may try and do is change back. Well, we'll go into that without this, but yeah. And then once that's done, playtesting. Just send out as many people that I know that can playtest it as I can. And just make sure that we can get the vehicle combat and miniatures rules actually tested properly and make sure that they work. I already have a cadre of people who are willing to do that for me, and they are awesome volunteers, so they will be a big help, and then we can hopefully get these things wrapped up. Again, this week, no feedback and questions came in, so I don't have anything to really talk about in this section. All the feedback I've had this week has been from people at LaveCon over the last couple of days, and I'm waiting for some to come in regarding the game itself from various different people who've taken my name and an email address and said they'll get in touch with some feedback. Other than that, I believe that's about it. So yeah, next update will be next week, next Monday, 20th of July, 8 PM UK time, at the start of the main Monday night stream. If you have any comments, questions or feedback to send to me, then please send it to me by 6 PM next Monday, and it'll be stuck in the broadcast for you. And if you want to get in touch by any way, then all my communications options are at the bottom of the screen there for you. Okay, and I believe we're done. So that's about it for this update. If you've enjoyed it, leave some comments or leave some information, or just, yeah, whatever. Throw tomatoes at your screen, whatever it is you do to leave comments on things. And if you want to stick around, we'll be starting the Elite Dangerous game stream at the end of this, after a couple of minutes. So again, Thank you very much guys, take care and see you in a bit.